Hello. This is for assignment 4. The instructions I had given you for assignment 4 were intended in combination with another video that I had found on YouTube, were intended to get you to solve the problem of finding out the mean and standard deviation by really setting up some simple columns, one for the scores, and then for your deviation scores in raw units, and then your squared deviation scores. Okay, so that was how they're intended to be laid out. Initially, you're just going to start with this first column, and you have to sum all of these scores up to try to figure out what the total is. And the reason you need that is because you're going to divide that by your sample size, in this case 10, to come up with a mean of 28. Next, what we do is we take each of these scores here and subtract the mean from it. Now you notice sometimes this will be positive and sometimes this will be negative. So that's just how that ends up going, right? So, but if you add these up, one of the things you'll notice is that they end up summing to 0. So raw deviation scores are pretty useless to us. So instead, we get squared deviation scores. And what you'll notice with squared deviation scores is because you're really multiplying, say, these values by themselves, you'll end up with really nothing but positive numbers. So this allows us to actually at least get some total here that we can actually use. And we call that the sums of squares, or the sum of the squared deviations around the mean, okay? And once we have that information, then we can start doing some really nifty stuff. We get to find out not only what the average or mean is, but we also get to find out a little bit about the variability around the mean. So you can see here I used the sample variance formula, which is a very straightforward formula. It's really just the sum of the squares divided by n minus 1. So in this case, you have 124, plug that into the numerator, plug 9 into the denominator, and you'll get something that approximates 13.78. And then all you have to do is get the square root of this number right here, 13.78, and that'll give you your standard deviation. So we're now converting back to the raw unit, the original unit of measure. In this case, we can say pretty safely that individuals seem that whatever this mean is, you can say 28, give or take, almost 3 3/4. Okay, so all would be fairly reasonable to expect. So that's really what this assignment was trying to get you to do, was to actually do what Jamovi does very easily. So you are just simply by hand using the same formulae that Jamovi uses, and you now understand what's behind Jamovi, what's underneath the proverbial hood. Okay, so that's the idea behind that. Alrighty, thank you for listening. Take care.